It's been so long since you smiled. Tell me where you left an empty child. Oh, let's have our feast on those who least expected this. The time is now, I swear we won't regret it. Won't regret it. Yeah, we sleep here under stars in the shelter of the dawn. Addicted, addicted. Yeah, when you find out who you are, I'll be watching from afar. Addicted, addicted to this. No, we won't tell a single soul. No, of every passing night we've sold. Oh, this is our time, our place, a new day is in bloom. Come and see what it's like to just accept it. Yeah, accept it. Yeah, we sleep there under stars in the shelter of the dawn. Addicted, addicted. Yeah, when you find out who you are, I'll be watching from afar. We're addicted, addicted to this. Take me to the light. I got tunnel vision sight. I got higher than I like. Too pretentious to rectify. Looking back, I know you tried. No, but does it still possess your life? Let's go out and get electric one more time. Everything in the world could be as we left it.
Welcome to the Daytona, well, that's a great start, Daytona International Speedway, as we are here for a 200-mile race this afternoon. It is the Sim Auto Racing Group Superspeedway Series here, and they are here to bring you on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network. We're here to bring you the Daytona 200 here for this afternoon. It's going to be absolutely incredible racing on store, and this season and this series going to be running 200-mile races throughout the course of this season. So it'll be alternating between Daytona and Talladega, as well as the Legacy Edition of Daytona International Speedway, and we're here at the modern day Daytona. As per usual, we are here back on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network, bringing you this action here a little bit, not exactly earlier, but in a sense, well, we're going to be here until pretty much the fall. We'll be having a fall break instead of a summer break until then, but regardless, we're going to be here every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time until August 27th, where that will be the All-Star Night starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and then possibly a secondary broadcast at 9 p.m. Eastern to bring you the actual All-Star race. But in the meantime, well, it is qualifying, and there is 1 minute left, and we're going to take a quick look to see who exactly is where, and well, it's by 9 1/1000ths of a second, well, pretty much for the entire top 12, all within 1/10 of each other for the time being. These cars will be utilizing the Xfinity cars, essentially a Grand National Series. It's going to be 80 laps at Daytona, 75 at Talladega, and that will be alternating again for the remainder of the season as we continue to wait and at this point just feel the anticipation, feel the adrenaline as it's 20 seconds remain in qualifying. And we'll see who will exactly be starting where just momentarily. Starting grid will be up on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. As the time ticks down, switches over to the main race session. This afternoon, it's going to be a 80-lap race once again here at Daytona. It's going to be there's going to be one stage. Points go to the top 10, of course, as well as 1 point going to the driver with the fastest lap, from what I have heard. As the starting grid forms up, we'll take a look and see who exactly will be starting where. Well, starting off on the front row, it's going to be the 33 of Benjamin Nelson leading the field to the green flag. Starting on his outside, it's going to be the 9 of Brandon Hoff. Starting off in the third place position is the 44 of Lucas Cram, with Alex Fox starting to his outside in position number 4. Sean Howell rounds out the top 5 in the number 38, with Clint Spillman starting off in 6th place position. Alex Bell in the 15 starts off in the 7th place position. The 24 of Nick Olson will be starting in 8th. Rounding out the top 10, it's going to be the 57 of Stephen Ellis, as well as the 45 of Colby Wells, where the 45 unfortunately has forgotten the number decals, and well, I guess they got to the truck so quickly and tried to set up that apparently numbers were left still in the hauler. 37 of Will, well, I just had the pronunciation told to me, and unfortunately I almost butchered it. Apologies, but it's going to be Will Road Armor. See, messed it up right there. So Will Road Armor starting off in the 11th place. Luke Parks in the 3. Very shiny paint scheme as well. Starts off in P12 in the number 3. Robbie Lyons starts off in position number 13. Not sure if that's exactly lucky or worrying, but regardless, Mitchell Mumas in the 07 starts off in position number 14. Rounding up the top 15, it's going to be Steve Rada. Michael Klein rounds out 16th. 17th place will be Christopher Lewis. 18th place is Ryan O'Hara, with Brett Murphy rounding out the 19th place position, and Dane Cruz rounding out position number 20. I believe the last 4 drivers as well going to be starting off with the number 48 of Quinn Gindrich. Alan Ballacchino not setting a time in position number 22. Same with Lucas Strayer in the 23rd position, and Gavin Jones in the 24th position. So that is your 24-car field here for this afternoon. Just waiting for one more driver to grid, I believe. And then we'll be underway here at Daytona. And this is coming after the Season 3 update at Daytona, where luckily cautions are now shorter. So cautions will be a hard 3 laps no matter what. And that's going to be something to play into effect most likely. And let's hope that doesn't have to come to the case, but we shall see regardless on what will be coming, or what will be playing into effect here for this afternoon. Pace car rolls off. And at this point, all we have to do is just sit back, watch the drivers make their round here, make their way around the track here tonight for the first of at least 4 pace laps guaranteed for the time being. There will be a stage at the completion of lap number 40, so we'll basically go to a caution coming to lap number 41, so pretty much a halfway point, and then we'll also take a break during that time so we can get ourselves caught up, make sure everyone is all set. So again, top 10 get points at the completion of the stage, not exactly stage 1. That'll be at the halfway point in this race. Well, at this point, all we have to do is just sit back, continue to wait for the anticipation to build. At the same time, these drivers can't really sit back because they're going to be on edge for this entire race, going roughly 180 miles per hour, bumper to bumper for a majority of the track, and we'll see how exactly these drivers will handle this track in the Xfinity cars. Pace car pulls off into the safety of pit road. The green flag is being shown, and we're underway in the Sim Auto Racing Group Daytona 200 for 80 laps here at Daytona. Well, one lap complete, 79 to go, as Lucas Cram is now up front. He has stolen the lead away from number 33 of Benjamin Nelson, and that was with the help of Brandon Hoff in the number 9. And so far, those two lines are looking relatively pretty much all set even, not going relatively anywhere for the time being. Somebody is off on the apron, falling back. That is the 57 of Stephen Ellis. Clips the grass just a little bit, and he'll fall back behind the majority of the field. And we apologize for any audio clipping that is coming from what seems to be iRacing itself from their X Audio 2 update. But I have to admit, that quality is absolutely incredible. Side by side as the 27 of Alex Fox continues to push the back bumper of the number 9 of Brendan Hoff. No one really giving an inch just quite yet. The outside lane did stall out momentarily. Unfortunately, I may have to switch back, unfortunately, to direct sound at some point during this broadcast. both crit vehicles up front, and the 9 maybe getting stuck in the middle momentarily. Alex Fox had peeked out to the outside, more than likely cooling the engine, but also getting a little bit loosened up on the top side. Manages to hang on to it for the time being. There goes Benjamin Nelson up to the outside lane of the number 44 of Lucas Cram. Well, it's so far so good throughout the field. Looking back through, everyone has relatively sorted themselves out. Almost, it's a bit between single and double file, depending on where you are, of course, in the field. Everyone up front just wanting to stay up front, stay side by side. Benjamin Nelson wants to get up to that first place position once again from where he started and qualified. He's more than likely not going to give it up without any help, as Brendan Hoff in that 9 machine just pushing him continuously down the trial entry and exit. As far as I know, these cars can get just a little bit loosened up as well. They're not entirely stable when it comes to bump drafting, especially in the corners. You can get just behind, but you can't physically bump somebody, especially at too hard of a speed. You see just pretty much how even it is. You can tell from the depth. Nose peeking out of the 33. Will he stay up top and let Hoff go with him is the question? Or will he decide, well, you know what, I'm going to take the lead for myself? That's something we may be seeing momentarily here in just about a lap or two, depending on how the momentum shapes out to be with the outside and inside lanes. Playoffs will be in effect later on this season at the completion of race number 8, and that leaves race 9, 10, 11, and 12 to be your playoff races. And anyone who is in the playoffs will be marked in blue on the timing tower on the right-hand side of your screen. So far, of course, it's the first race of the season. No one has quite made it just yet. For the time being, everyone relatively calm, essentially, for the most part, because, well, top side starting to fade away just ever so slightly, and that's something these drivers up on the top side do not want. The 33, the 9, the 27 of Alex Fox. No one really wants the outside lane to fade away. At the same time, we may be seeing it form back up. We could be seeing a third line come up way later on in this race, of course. That's something that we have to wait until then to really see if anyone's willing to go all the way up top and use that third lane. A few bobbles from pretty much everybody throughout the pack, and that's why this camera angle is relatively decent. You can just see how varying everybody is in their lines, how close they are, essentially, trying to stay behind somebody. On board the number 9 of Brendan Hoff as he continues to sit behind 33. And remember, drivers like Sean Howell in the number 38 machine, he's not really able to give up that second place on the inside lane. He's not able to move out of the way, or else he's going to lose a lot of momentum, which is, of course, a given here at Daytona. He's not going to be able to push the 44, and he's going to get shuffled all the way back throughout the field. So it's very much a give and take situation here for drivers like the 38 of Howell. Some of these drivers so close at the start finish line that the timing just cannot differentiate anything between .033. And that's how close everyone is running. Luckily, when it comes to results at the start-finish line, you will be able to see the incremental numbers, of course. 24 of Nick Olson, giving a little bit of space, about half a car length by the looks of it, maybe 3/4 of a car length behind between himself and the 15 of Alex Bell. Also, everyone's still being even, still bobbling just ever so slightly. You see the 44 of Cram just a little bit ways above that double yellow line, and that's a key thing. You don't really have to have your left side tires directly on that yellow line. Stars that puts you and others at risk of losing grip on the inside lane, but also helps out carry momentum just a little bit more, as you can, well, of course, not have to deal with the change of banking as someone's off on the inside lane. We're going to take a quick look and see who that is. I believe that could be the 88, and it is Clint Spillman, who has decided, well, you know what, I'm just going to sit back here and actually get a little bit loose on the apron, manages to hang on to it. Maybe a little bit too close for comfort to the apron is the 88. But a great catch, nonetheless. So far, so good throughout the field. That top line has formed back up now. It looks to be a relatively even split between this first group that we have. And that second group doesn't really begin all the way back up until the 41 of Lucas Strayer. He's caught in the no man's land, essentially, of Superspeedway racing. Of course, at the cost of a few audio clipping, a bit of audio clipping here and there, which may be on the side of iRacing, at least in the terms of cameras. It's audio too when it comes to close range. Incredible audio. That second group, or that main first group, that top line, that's completely broken up, unfortunately. It was all going so well for a couple laps, and suddenly it is just gone, dissipated just like that. Now, Benjamin Nelson has made his way back into the lead for the first time since the start of this race. And now it's a shot for Brandon Hoff as he gets a little bit of a shot from the 24. It's a little bit of a shot for that number 9 to try and get up to the outside lane, into the, at least get into the inside lane, I should say, out front. Which sometimes it's where you want to be, but sometimes it isn't. That 9 just needs all the help he can get from Nick Olson in the 24 machine. Taking a look back again at this second group now, Ryan O'Hara and the 09 has fallen back into the clutches of the second group, which is pretty much 18th through 25th, the remainder of the field, that have now single-filed themselves out. Right, when I say that, the 41 goes way up top. Not sure what happened to Strayer or Spillman. But they do manage to hang on to it. Someone's up on the off on the inside lane. That's the 11 of Brett Murphy. Brett Murphy now falling back. One of the few drivers, one of the 3 now, I believe, at this point, that have fallen back and chosen the choice to, took the choice to go to the inside lane and decide, well, you know what, I've ran enough up here in this first group, now it's time for me to fall back. And I wonder how many more drivers will decide to make that choice. Brendan Hoff just barely edging out Benjamin Nelson through turns 3 and 4 that time by. At the start-finish line, it's just by about 3/4 of the car length. That 9 is losing what seems to be a lot of momentum, unfortunately. Not having that 24 right up against the back bumper, not helping in the slightest, at least. And we have one driver that's peeking up to the very top side. That is the number 9 of Brandon Hoff, actually, who's falling back, I should say now at this point, up on the top side. I'm not sure if Hoff decided to optionally go up to the top side, but speaking of, 2 drivers decided to do so, the 24 and the 38 up front. Sean Howell decides to go up top. Same with Lucas Cram, the 24 of Nick Olson opts for the inside lane, and the 33 of Benjamin Nelson stays on the inside lane, of course. Just taking the as defensive of a line as possible here at Daytona on that inside lane. Now it's just a matter of really who is willing to push how hard. '24 nearly door slamming the 38 off turn 4, just trying to hang on to the car, gaining a little bit of the apron, unfortunately, which loosened up the grip. The 15 of Alex Bell starting to catch up to the back bumper of the 44 after falling back momentarily, trying to cool down the engine as much as possible. Look at this huge run that the outside lane has. The 38 of Sean Howell goes to the lead. And that's going to put the 44, the first car on the outside lane, with the 15 of Alex Bell pushing him. And that's going to shuffle Benjamin Nelson to what's relatively at least second place on the inside lane. Either third or fourth. Decide what you will. We can see here from this camera angle just how even up those two are, but as well, if we take away the timing tower and just zoom out here on the back straightaway, we just see how far these 25 cars have spread themselves out. This is all 25 cars in one shot. You see that second group in the back, about 7 or so cars just laying back just in case anything does happen up front, but so far everyone managing to hang on to it for now. To the inside goes Alex Bell. That means the 44 will now have the 02 of Alan Ballacchino up top. There goes Benjamin Nelson up to the top side with the 24 machined of Nick Olson. Probably one reason why the 33 is still up front, because he's got the speed not only alone but with other drivers, as he had moved down to the inside lane off turn number 2. That's going to leave Nick Olson in the 24 to push the 44 of Lucas Cram now. Or rather, the 44 of Lucas Cram pushing the 24 of Nick Olson. This time by regardless, it's going to be 61 laps to go. 60 laps to go at the completion of this lap. And right now we're just continuing to watch these drivers battle it out up front. As the 24 now gets shuffled into the lead, Alan Ballacchino is going to try and make his try and have his attempt. He started all the way back from 22nd, and look at where he is now, running up front with the lead cars that qualified up front as well. Ballacchino in the 02, not wanting to give up these top few positions for now, with 60 laps to go. Bumper to bumper, they continue. That inside lane just managing to peak out by about 1.5 cars, I should say. With the 02 and the 44 not giving up that outside lane momentum, as they have multiple drivers joining them up top. Where that number 9 car is in that final crit car, that is the end of the top 10. And it's split 50-50. 5 cars up top, 5 cars on the inside lane, but the inside lane just has that little bit of extra momentum. Of course, it is a given that the inside lane is always the preferred lane here at Daytona or any superspeedway in general. That's why you have to hope that drivers up on the top side can help you out, form up bump draft you and, well, of course, keep things relatively stable between you and themselves. Not push things early on, no pun intended. Will Road Armor in the 37 machine, taking a continuous look up to that third lane. He's not trying to make a third lane happen, however. It's way too early for that to happen. But you see the O2 doing that as well. That's just to cool down the engine. I see it continue as we ride on board number 37 of Road Armor. Peaks about half a car length, quarter of a car length, or car width, I should say, up the racetrack. And there he does, doing it again just to cool down the engine, possibly letting off the fuel as well in the process. You see 189 miles per hour. About 24 of 80. As the laps wind down up until the halfway point again, where we will be having a stage caution at the halfway point of this race. Top 10 will be getting points for the playoffs. Top 10 will be getting points for the playoffs. Right now, just continuing to wait and see where everyone's going to sort themselves out. Of course, to no one's surprise of the usual Superspeedway racing, no one has went to the top side. Nick Olsen has not went to the top side to try and defend that because, well, he's at home on the inside lane. He's really got nothing to... He's got everything to lose, I should say, actually. He's got the inside lane to lose as well as a lot of momentum, and he's going to risk stacking up that outside lane, which is very well formed now. By this camera shot alone, about 7-8 cars up on the top side. The O2 is absolutely shoving the 44 down the back straightaway, though. Ballacino wanting to shove Lucas Cram into the lead, and it's going to be part of the field, I should say, coming into pit road. Everyone's going to be locking their brakes down to 60 miles an hour. I see lap number 25 coming to lap number 26 as we have Strayer, the 48 of Gingrich, Spillman, Parks, 45 of Wells, the 07 of Muma, as well as the 88 of Spillman, who overshoots Sean Howell in pit road. Same with Alex Fox, as well as the 33 of Benjamin Nelson. I don't believe the 48 of Gingrich had actually gotten to pit road. Or gotten to his pit stall. He passed through pit road, but I don't believe he made a pit stop. So it's going to give us a relative insight to what drivers are going to be pitting when. So next predicted pit stop is going to be about lap 50 at this rate. As one driver pulls off to the inside lane. That is the 12 of Gavin Jones, who spins on pit entry, just manages to hang on to it. Not sure if race control is going to clear that unsafe pit entry or not. He did try and get slowed down and just overshoots his pit box. Unfortunately, he's going to be having a lot of lost time, as it looks like he is fully in his pit stall. Ryan O'Hara in pit road. Ballacino into the lead for the first time this afternoon. He's going to continuously get shoved by the 9. Then he goes down to the inside lane. He'll lead lap number 28 this time by the start-finish line. As everyone continues to very aggressively shuffle around now, trying to figure out where they're going to go. Three drivers, at least 3-4 drivers going to be a lap down here. These are the drivers just now exiting pit road compared to the lead field. I see Lucas Strayer, the last driver here on the lead lap in the 22nd position. Everyone else relatively going to try and stretch it for the most part. And here comes the 24 of Nick Olsen down to pit road. I believe it's just Nick Olsen, though. And it is. Nick Olsen on his lonesome is in pit road with no one to help him when he exits. That's, of course, obviously a key thing here at Daytona. You need to have at least someone else, at least one other person enter pit road with you, or else that's not exactly going to go too well. Because you're going to be losing a lot of momentum on the exit. Right now, it looks like everyone going down all the way to the inside lane. That's only one thing. Everyone's planning to come to pit road in the next coming laps. It's been 5 laps since the very first group had come down pit road. Only a few remain a lap down. Luke Parks in the 3. The last driver on the lead lap now in 18th. Coming now to 50 laps to go. So at minimum, it's 25 laps. The maximum looks to be 30 laps, depending on when everyone else plans to pit, especially this, again, lead group. Relatively everyone on the inside lane, and there goes everyone to the inside lane. We have to see where everyone shuffles out here. Contact, the 37 just barely manages to hang on to it. Doesn't make contact with the 02. Great pit entry. Despite the slide from the 37, the 02 completely overshoots his pit stall by 1. That's going to leave now Brendan Hoff, Robbie Lyons, and Steve Rada in your top 3. The only drivers that have yet to pit. It's about 25 to 31 laps at this point. 32 laps, if you will. Everyone getting fuel. Possibly some right side tires, depending on who you are. Maybe 4 tires as well. Brendan Hoff coming down pit road with the 97 of Lyons, as well as the 8 of Steve Rada, who of course has really no choice unless he wants to get left out to dry and lose momentum. But this could this is going to at least relatively shuffle the 44 back into the lead. Momentarily, the 8 stopping relatively very early, slowing it down early as well. The 9 crooked on the pit stall, but looks to be going down and away right away, so just fuel for a majority of the drivers, unless you're Steve Rada, who's taking 4 tires. He's going to get left behind for now, but we'll see where he gets shuffled out by the halfway point of this race. As Lucas Cram and Alex Bell, 4th and 5th. We're going to be looking to take over the lead here momentarily on the exit of turns 1 and 2. Maybe not, however. So Brendan Hoff and Robbie Lyons, there's the gap between the front 2 and the rest of the field. Brendan Hoff leads the field, but look how far they are apart. This is not going to help them, actually. Somebody's going to have to let off, and Hoff may have to let off the throttle. But maybe too late. The 07 of Mitchell Muma being absolutely shoved by the 38 of Sean Howell. The 87, or 97 rather, of Robbie Lyons goes up top. Momentarily 3 wide, and Brendan Hoff does the same. He doesn't want to risk slowing down the entire field on the inside lane. It's going to be a tight squeeze. The 3 moves down to the inside as much as he can. And just like that, everyone has sorted themselves out. But look at this. The 07 of Mitchell Muma from 14th to 1st. Absolutely incredible job by the 07 to get from 14th to 1st. Pit strategy playing out well so far. One of the earliest drivers to pit as well. Same with the 38 of Sean Howell. And now this is one of the times where you just sit back, watch where everyone goes, and see how they'll sort themselves out by the halfway point of this race. Even wonder who's willing to pit at the halfway point of the race. We saw Lucas Krem move up to the outside lane. We see Sean Howell moving up to the very top side, possibly, of course, to cool down his engine because he shoved the 07 to the lead. And he doesn't want to sit behind anybody too much longer. He's still peeking out and staying out to that 3rd line. 6 laps to go until the halfway caution and the end of the stage. And again, your top 10 get points, and you're looking at, while your top 9, the end of the top 10 position is Alan Ballacino in the 02. Oh, the 15 a little bit sideways for a quick moment, just hangs on to it. Luckily, no harm, no foul. I believe that's the second time. No, it's only the first time the 15 had nearly spun out. And, oh, by the way, the 24th place position is Quinn Gingrich. Gavin Jones in number 12 looking to stay as at least as much as possible on the 1 lap down, as well as the 09 of Ryan O'Hara. This is Quinn Gingrich, the first driver 1 lap down, which has to stay ahead for another 5 laps, but the momentum that your lead cars are going, we'll see, especially with Gavin Jones in the 12 and Ryan O'Hara in the 9. So with O'Hara being in front of the 48, O'Hara in the 09 is going to be the free pass position when the stage caution comes out. He moves up top. There's the number 12, the 09, staying on the inside lane momentarily. The 09 not moving up top just yet, trying to get by the 12. This is going to be a tight squeeze, almost 4 wide down the back straightaway. And it's going to be contact, I believe. The 09 thought he went into the outside wall, but he was very close from doing so. In the meantime, Nick Olson going to be looking up to the outside lane, trying to get momentum. Here comes the 3 of Luke Parks to the inside lane, pushing the 07. Your field has, of course, been completely reshuffled. Oh, contact. The 3 goes around. Luke Parks in front of everybody, and the caution going to be coming out for the first time. And I think this is how the stage will end. The 92, I believe. Someone else involved, unfortunately. I believe that's that's not the 07. Alan Ballacino, the 02, is involved. First caution just before the halfway point. And this looks like it will be it for the stage. And the completion of lap 40 is going to be the key thing, so we'll see how this plays out. But in the meantime, we'll get a replay up here on your screen momentarily. First wreck of the day, and about 4 drivers seem to be involved. I'm going to be taking a look at the number 3 of Luke Parks. Apologies for the delay as we get the replay up for you as soon as possible. So replay up on your screen looking at the 3 of the gold car of Luke Parks. I believe may have gotten shoved, at least got to the bumper of the 07, may have slowed up by the looks of it. And that was actually contact from the 24 who came down trying to squeeze him. Unfortunately, that just did not play out too well. The 9, unfortunately, Brendan Hoff just getting a piece of that as well. The 15 just barely slips by. The 44 also gets a piece of it. And unfortunately, it was just pretty much on from that point on. The 02 getting involved as we get another replay. As well as the 26, I believe, also getting a portion of that. Definitely the 11 of Brett Murphy. So close yet so far. Luckily, no major harm, no major foul for all the drivers involved. Maybe a little bit of contact here and there, but relatively everything seems to be fine for the most part. So back live after everyone has made pit stops. 4 tires, fuel for everyone. Benjamin Nelson out front. And at this point, I believe we're going to be coming to the green maybe with 2 laps to go. Or coming to green with the halfway point, the completion of lap 40. We'll see. That may be pretty much all said and done. So we're going to take a quick commercial break here. We're going to double check a few things. And until then, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the second half of the Sim Auto Racing Group Superspeedway Series momentarily. Race number 1, 200 miles, and almost 100 of them are complete. Welcome back to the Sim Auto Racing Group Super Speedway Series. It is now 1 lap to green, and an update. The caution, of course, well, the sign of the caution at the time of the caution, well, that's when the stage has ended. That is determined by race control. So we are coming back to green with 40 laps to go. Again, stage ended when the caution flew, so we'll get that as soon as possible, of course, by the next race, if not possible. But regardless, lights are out on the pace car. Unfortunately, the 07 rather, having a few connection issues. Not the best time, especially halfway through this race. Pace car has pulled off, and the green flag is being shown once again. We are back underway here at Daytona. The second half of the race is now underway. The 07 having massive connection issues, unfortunately. Hopefully it'll get sorted out over on his side, but it's bad timing as well for the 07 Numa to have that. Robbie Lyons dropping down to the inside lane, saying, you know what, as much as I'd love to run up here, I'd rather not. We move in behind the 44 of Lucas Graham, and, well, the lead cars, the 07, are sorted out for the time being. At this point, it's a straight sprint to the end. Only 1 caution so far. I'm wondering if anyone will be a little bit more daring here when these laps continue to wind down. Alex Bell up on the top side, getting pushed by the 46, which should be the 56 of Dane Cruz. And you see the 07 of Mitchell Muma falling back onto the inside lane. See, peeking out to the outside is going to be the number 33, trying to drag race Will Road Armor. He's getting shoved now by the 56. Is that number 37 machine as we continue to ride on board. The 33, just like that, with the help from Alex Bell, gets put into the lead. Oh, the 37 having a few connection issues as well, unfortunately. Everyone's starting to back themselves up a little bit. Alex Fox onto the outside. And that shell sponsor number 27 machine. Alex Fox on the outside, Alex Bell on the inside. 27 versus 15. A little help from behind with the 02 of Alan Bellacino and the 33 of Benjamin Nelson. Clint Spillman and number 88 machine has made his way up through the field once again, back up front, at least to his original starting position. At this point, it's being slow and methodical with your movements, no matter where you are on the racetrack. You don't want to quite literally push too hard. Let me see if we can take a look at that 44. Lucas Cram, that left front, or the right front rather, of that machine is quite banged up. Take away the commentary, you can kind of see it where the R is in that front hood logo. You see just how damaged that 44 is. That's not going to help him out too much in this long run. Aside from occasional stray fireworks going off, which is what it sounds like. Relatively, so far, so good for everyone tonight. Ooh, someone making a huge dive to the inside lane. I believe that was Stephen Ellis. It was, in that number 57. Almost had to catch that by the looks of it down on the inside lane. You see pretty much everyone else up in front of Stephen Ellis, well, including Stephen Ellis now, I guess, at this point. This is your entire top 13, all side by side. They're all trying to figure out who exactly is going to be where by the end of this, and, well, the only way they can do that is be up there themselves. Unfortunately, the number 8 of Steve Rada has retired 11 laps ago. And those laps will continue to tick upwards as the completion of this race goes on. 27 of Alex Fox leading the field that time by the start-finish line. And 15 of Alex Bell getting that, of course, almost the obligatory momentum boost on the inside lane on the entry to turns 1 and 2. The 02 getting peaked to the inside as the 33 of Benjamin Nelson and the 20 and the 15 of Alex Bell had made a little bit of too much contact. That could have been the most bad luck that everyone would have faced. And now the 15 is forced to look and push for 27. Both Alexes working together. You can see just from this camera angle that little bit of damage on the 50 of Alex Fox. Doesn't seem like much, and well, considering that he's running up front, it definitely is not much for the 15 machine. As he gets shoved by the 02 up on the outside lane, the 27 falls back to the bumper of the 33. And the 02 unfortunately going to have to back off here. Clint Spillman, a little bit of a bobble. Trying to just catch momentum, let off the throttle, and not run into the back of the 02 mid-corner. As well as trying to stay behind the 02, trying to line himself up. The laps continue to wind down. We're going to be having at least one more pit stop, about double-checking the laps here off the top of my head. About lap 65 to 72 is going to be our next, at least estimated, pit time. And the 02, the 88, and pretty much anybody else on the top side has fallen back now by about 3 cars, as Benjamin Nelson is going to just get by third car on the inside lane. So anyone on the inside lane here, at least the 27 and the 33, they have room to go up top if they want to. Benjamin Nelson wants to go up top, and so he does. driver heading into pit road. We'll get who that is in just a couple of moments' time. That's Gavin Jones on number 12 in pit road. May have underfueled the car, unfortunately, is Gavin Jones. Still remains in pit road for 11, 12, 13, 14 seconds, possibly 4 tires for number 12 of Gavin Jones, but regardless, he's out of pit road, but he'll be putting a lap down guaranteed here in the next about 5 or so laps. But in the meantime, it's going to be 30 laps to go at the start-finish line. It's going to be a side-by-side drag race here as they continue to make their rounds. Benjamin Nelson trying to hang up top with the O2, pushing him on the outside lane with everyone else in hot pursuit. Same with the 88 of Clint Spillman. Coming to 29 laps to go this time by. We're going to take a quick double wide break. You're going to miss a quick piece of the action here, but we'll get the picture back up as soon as possible. So you're not going to miss anything, at least for the most part, as we go double wide just for a quick couple of moments. But in the meantime, though, Alex Bell continues to lead. So we're going to stick with this for the time being. Gavin Jones moves up top. 15 slides up the racetrack as well. The 33 trying to use the draft of that number 12 machine just out in front of him. He'll get by. He'll get in the lead. Benjamin Nelson to the lead once again, not giving up the lead. Very rightly so. He qualified for it by about 9 1/1000ths of a second. So continuing again just to watch everyone make their rounds as the laps wind down. Oh, crash in the back. The 44th Cram is around. Caution is out. Someone else caught up as well, unfortunately, involved. That was Gavin Jones who just got involved. Lucas Cram's car is absolutely destroyed. Sean Howell involved. And just like that, this is going to change everything. It is 35 laps to go when everyone comes back to the pace car and when pit road opens. And this is just going to leave everything up in the air in terms of pit stops. No one really knows what's going to happen except for the drivers themselves unless they want to really risk something. But regardless, we're going to take a look here. Replay up on your screen. Taking a look at the 44 with crits on the side. It was just an accordion effect, and the 95 was just there at the wrong place, wrong time, unfortunately. So far, so good. Saves it, and then here comes the 12. Unfortunately, Sean Howell just maybe gets by, save for a few scrapes here or there. Quick onboard look once again. Everyone does slow up as much as possible. Sean Howell just waiting, just slides right by. Maybe a little bit of damage, but nothing too major. Well, the field now coming to pit road on coming to lap number 55. Benjamin Nelson and company, really the only driver staying out, I believe. Nick Olson, I believe, may have gotten the wave around, not sure, but the 48 stays out. No, he's a lap down, but he didn't know what to do for a second. Gavin Jones does stay out to try and at least get a lap back. We're going to take a quick commercial break. I'll be right back momentarily here. This is the Sim Auto Racing Group Superspeedway Series, as the 37 Will Road Armor will be the first driver out of the pit road at 7.3 seconds. The only driver that seems to only take fuel instead of fuel and tires. Benjamin Nelson second off, third off, Alex Fox. Stay tuned for the restart coming up here soon on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network.
Coming up to the line, being chased, and it was Braden Johnson. Unbelievable finish. It was 1/1000th of a second between them.
Green flag in the air. We are racing in the 2020 24 Hours of Daytona.
They go door to door for the feature race lead here on the last lap of the race. Side by side for the race lead in the final corner at Homestead.
Down the back straightaway, 3 wide again for the race lead. This is unbelievable stuff here tonight.
Aloma is going to have to be very deep on the brakes, and he is very deep on the brakes. It's side by side through the corner. This is for the win.
It'll be side by side. Davies low, Ottinger high. To the very inside is Garrett Low. 4 wide at the stripe. For all his work here on this outside line, neck and neck. Who's going to back out? Does anyone back out? Verstappen starts to squeeze on the inside, and now he'll try and straight line it. Goes under the apron. Drag race to the line. It's so close to call.
$35 laps to go, 34 laps to go when we come to the green flag. This is the Sim Auto Racing Group Superspeedway Series, race 1 of 12. 200 miles between Daytona International Speedway, Legacy at Daytona 2008, as well as Talladega. Next week will be Talladega for 75 laps as the 48 makes his way around, I believe, waged around by race control. 34 laps to go at the start-finish line. Everyone will have to pit at some point, of course, going off of the 25 to 30, 32 roughly, at least, pit window that we've seen earlier on. Will Road Armor, the only driver to have a 7.5 second pit stop. They'll bring the field to the green flag, possibly the only driver to get fuel as well, or just fuel, I should say. And we're going to be riding on board with the 88 of Clint Spillman on the outside lane here on this restart as the pace car pulls off. Road Armor getting shoved by the 27 of Alex Fox. As they continue to make their way through turns 3 and 4, everyone drastically going down the single file. And right when I say that, somebody's going to make a liar out of me, and that is the number 97 of Robbie Lyons saying, no, not really. I'd rather go to the top side. And Robbie Lyons hasn't really been seen up here in the top half of the field for quite some time throughout this race. Started lucky position number 13. As we see Alex Fox go up to the top side, and there goes the 97. He's gonna give a huge shove now. Alex Fox, of course, cleared to the inside if he does need it, but right when I say that, the inside lane fights right back at the last second. while you do have the time, I'm going to take a quick moment to turn up the volume for you and have a little bit of it crank it up. Well, 19 laps to go. Just listening to the sounds of these drivers, listening to the sounds of the engines as the drivers make their way around. Something to point out, Ryan O'Hara, when we rode on board with him momentarily, you heard him lift off the throttle on the inside, when he was, I believe, on the inside lane. And that's a key thing. You don't want to just go full bore, full throttle, essentially, right into the person in front of you. You have to match their speed. You have to match their speed as close as possible up with the throttle. You have to be incredibly careful as well. Someone who's not being careful, unfortunately, is the 88. He's being careful of his engine off of turn number 4. He is forced to, unfortunately, let that inside lane pass by. A little bit of a bobble when he tries to get to the inside lane. He's getting hung out to dry now. Is the 57 going to let him in? No. Clint Spillman, just like that, from about the top 5, shuffle all the way back to what is now position at number 12. And they'll now make that position number 14, make that position number 15 as the 95 gets by. Christopher Lewis there on the inside in that 95 machine. And just like that, all is said and done. Well, it's 17 laps to go. Lap number 9 laps, I should say, that these drivers have been on their current run. And drivers may be able to make it to the end on fuel and everything, but I don't know. It's going to be close. The pit window is just about roughly 25 to 32, and that is your pit window. Fortunately, after just came back from lead lap, the 48, not having a good day. Quinn Gindrich currently sits in the 23rd position. If you want to see how far back he is, or how far in front he is, I guess in this case, from the lead pack, there's the 48 just exiting turn 4, and there is everybody else. He's going to have a whole host of cars bearing down on him in just a couple of moments. And that's something he most likely will not want to enjoy. Benjamin Nelson still out front, still fighting for the lead after all this time. The 48's going to come too close to the inside lane, and he just gets in front. Slideways as everybody. This is going to bring out a caution as the 48 goes around, and the caution fully comes out. Many drivers involved. The 1 is involved. Everyone else up front, they're still wrecking off turn number 2. This is, I believe, the big one. The 56 of Dane Cruz involved. The 95, who we just mentioned, is involved. Christopher Lewis with a heavily damaged engine. Well, this answers the question of will drivers be able to make it. Nick Olson is involved as well. And just like that, this has changed everything. Some drivers that were in the top 10 most likely at the halfway point. Well, now this has completely changed the complexion of the remainder of this race for them. The 24 is involved, of course, just everybody. It was a delayed wreck through turns 1 and 2. And we're going to get a replay up here momentarily. Taking a look, we're going to look at this in slow motion here as the caution is out. We're going to take a look at the 24, that 4th car on the left-hand side of your screen on the very inside lane. The number 24, the Exalted machine. Seeing the 48, of course, come down. Up on the top side of the 44, they make contact up near the front with the 97. That is Robbie Lyons. He's able to just hang on to it. The 27, however, is too close. The 24 checks up. The 1, that's an accordion effect down to the inside. The momentum difference is too great. The 1 couldn't slow down enough. The 95 runs into the back of him. The 46 of Dane Cruz gets a piece of it, and then it's just unfortunately on from there. The 88 may have just escaped that. The 1, not so much, also gets caught up in that. The 95, so about a 5-6 car incident here through turn 2. And we'll see if we can get one more replay shot here. Focusing on the 95 where everyone just starts to slowly check up. Everyone's involved. And it's just madness off turn number 2. The 07 that's well involved. I actually didn't see him get caught up. I'm going to take one more replay. We're going to ride on board with the 07 actually here. When we see if we can find a camera for that 07 machine, an onboard camera, as Mitchell Muma, who I believe got involved in an earlier wreck as well. You hear him lift up as well, makes it, and just gets caught up. He thought the 40 was going to slide down, and just to add insult to injury, the back bumper swings back around and sends the 07 sideways. Well, not everyone, a few drivers, of course, rightly so, not too pleased with what just transpired, but, well, what has happened. Benjamin Nelson sits out front. The 44 Lucas Cram in second. Third place is Colby Wells. Colby Wells had started off in the third place position. I believe, apparently, it seems to be for at least that missing number 45. Apparently, if you take the decal stickers, the number off of your car, apparently you go faster just by evidence. Just evidenced by the number 45 here, by the looks of it. So, we'll see if that does play, if that does ring true by the end. Everyone has went to pit road except for your top 3, who I just mentioned: Benjamin Nelson, Lucas Cram, Colby Wells. Everyone from 4th on back has went to pit road. That's going to be something to look out for by the end of this race. Everyone else can make it on fuel and tires. Your top 3 look to be betting on another caution. So we'll see how this looks. Lights on the pace car have shut off. So now, at this point, it's just waiting, and even more waiting for the rest of this race, at least for the remainder of it. Honestly, not sure if we're going to have a green-white checker attempt, but I believe we will have at least, at minimum, 3. I'm going to be double-checking on that just to make sure. Regardless, the 33 will be bringing the field to the green flag here this time around, with 12 laps remaining. And just double check here, there will be 3 green-white checkered attempts. And then once the third one is pretty much over, that says it all for the rest of the race. Green flag flies once again here at Daytona. Lucas Cram with a great start and a little bit of help from the O2, almost getting pushed by that little bit of air bubble on the back bumper. And you hear the 33 upshifting as well a little bit later. And he's going to get a huge shot from the missing number 45 of Colby Wells. And you see the 57 of Stephen Ellis getting involved in the mix-up here. The 33 of Nelson goes up to the top side. The 44 does not go to the inside. He actually cannot, just by the looks of that down the back straightaway. I thought he was able to, maybe just for a quick moment. But now Colby Wells is going to be leading the charge to the inside. Nelson has to make a move either now or stay up top. He'll stay up top in that, middle line, I should say, as the 44 dives down the 33. Also have the same idea. They nearly spun out. That was a very close moment by both drivers. The 33 had a huge bobble as well with the 44 machine. They both managed to hang on to it. And third lane looked to be starting up for the, at least for the moment, on the back straightaway. And here comes the number 9 of Brandon Hoff up top once again. He's going to be joining in on this in these final races. Again, the 44, the 33, and the 45, the missing number 45, have not yet pitted. And that's going to be a key thing. They have roughly 10 laps. They're going to try and stretch it to the end by the looks of this. They think they can make it the whole 30 laps. At least enough, at least more than 25 laps to make it to the end of this race. That's going to be something to remember here as laps continue to wind down. But Lucas Cram and the 33 of Benjamin Nelson, they're all using their full throttle for the most part. They're leading the pack, they're leading the field, they're leading their individual lanes. Colby Wells, second car on the inside lane. He has a little bit of a break for himself, because luckily for him, he's directly behind the 44. While he has to push the 44, he can lay back and can let the towing of the draft do the work for him. So we'll see if the 45 can use that to his advantage. It's nearly 3 wide just off camera, just to the right-hand side. The 37 and the 9 almost made it 3 wide between themselves, and the 57 of Ellis would have been stuck on the inside lane with, well, pretty much no option but to really wait. The 9 is going to still, again, have to fall back instead of just trying to peek to the inside. He tries to look again to the inside lane, but we have a crash in the back, huge crash, about 5 cars involved. The 3 of Luke Parks going right through the grass in the infield, and it is a parking lot on the apron of Daytona Turn 3 with 9 laps to go. This is going to bring us to at least 6 or 5 laps to go when it comes to a shootout, pending we don't get a green-white checker. And we'll see exactly what happened here when we get our replay set up. Not entirely sure what happened. It looks to be about around the 56 and the 11 off of off the back straightaway, I should say, on the entry to turn number 3. Going to be riding on board Brent Murphy in the 11, who is involved. You hear him letting off, and I think the 46, just by the looks of that, hard contact with the 09. I think just from the looks of that, the 09, or rather the 46 or the 56, was trying to follow the car in front of him, which I believe was the 41 of Lucas Strayer. And unfortunately, forgot that there's somebody on the inside lane, and, well, Chaos had relatively ensued. Ryan O'Hara with a really heavy crash, unfortunately, for himself down the back straightaway. As we take a look from this angle, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine, and yep, just happened so soon. The 09, unfortunately getting caught. Same with the 11, the 26, the 07 again, the 97, and the 3 of Luke Parks just going right through the infield. We're going to take one more look on board the number 3 of Luke Parks. He luckily, well, kind of made a park of his own in a sense, just by cutting right through the infield. Oh yeah, he immediately saw that, the great reaction time, and then he thinks, well, I'm just going to go right through the infield. And, well, granted, he was partially brought down to the infield by the grass just kind of taking him. I believe there's a cone as well on the inside lane, oddly enough. Not sure as to why a cone would be there, but well, apparently there is. But regardless, coming back to your live picture here, it's going to be the 1 to green this time by, with 6 laps to go. That's going to give us a 5-lap shootout. Lucas Cram out in front. Your top 3 still have yet to pit. Well, top 4, technically, in a sense, being Lucas Cram in the 44, Benjamin Nelson in the 33, Colby Wells in the, well, what should be the 45. More of a testing paint scheme in a sense. And the 02 of Alan Ballacino sits up here in 3rd place on the restart. Second driver on the inside lane. I wouldn't be surprised if the 44, 33, and 45 are all saving fuel as much as possible right now, because at minimum, their run can take them to the end of the race. Pace car going across the start-finish line. And the lights will go out here at Daytona International Speedway. There it is. 6 laps to go. 5 when we get the green flag. But of course, before we wrap up, if you're interested, if anyone's interested watching here in sponsoring the Racing Line Broadcasting Network itself, the broadcasts themselves, go ahead and send us a message over at facebook.com/Racing Line Broadcasting Network. And we'll talk out the deals. I'll go from there. Right now, just to make sure, if you're also interested in watching the rest of this season, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If it's red, well, you haven't clicked the subscribe button yet, so go ahead and click on it. If the subscribe button is gray and it says subscribed, well, make sure at least that bell notification is not outlined, but it's, set to all instead of personalized. So you know when we go live next. 5 laps to go here at Daytona. The pace car about to pull off, let the field loose. And the field in control of 2 cars that have yet to pit. Technically 3 if we count the 45 up on the outside lane, but the 02, I believe, Alan Ballacino could be in the best position for this finish. We'll have to wait and see what comes of this, but it's 5 laps at minimum to decide who is going to be the winner of the first race of this season. Pace car pulls off, field in control of Lucas Cram in the 44 machine. The 02 going to go directly to his back bumper as we go green flag racing. 5 laps to go here at Daytona, and immediately going to the inside is Colby Wells. He's not wasting any chance. He's not wasting any time. The 33 of Benjamin Nelson going to be getting shuffled back up on the top side as he is completely left out to dry. The 57, 27, 38, all 3 wide here, mid-pack, just near the end of the top 10. As they get up to full speed here on the back straightaway. Looking up top is Colby Wells, the first driver up on the outside lane, getting pushed by the 33 of Benjamin Nelson, 37 of Will Rodarmer, third driver on the inside lane. He'll look to involve himself in this battle as quickly as possible. Almost a little bit of a bobble from Wells by the looks of that off turn number 4. He just hangs on to it. Side by side drag race to the start finish line with 4 laps to go. I believe Colby Wells had gotten that lead the last time by. Honestly, we can't be too sure. Regardless, though, Wells, the 3 drivers that have yet to pit, they are all in control. Wells unsure, hesitant to go to the inside lane. Cram looked to the middle lane, but that wasn't going to do anything. Wells trying to control both lanes down the back straightaway. The 33 and the 9 go up top as they're 3 wide for the lead down the back straightaway, heading into turn number 3. And Wells gets left out to dry. The 27 of Alex Fox following suit. Getting too close to the outside lane possibly is the number 9. Then 9 left out to dry on the top side with the 27. And now it's 3 wide for pretty much 3rd place on back with 3 laps to go. Lucas Cram and Alan Ballacino both out in front. Single file. Ballacino goes out to the middle lane. We do have 3 green-white checkered attempts if necessary, keeping in mind. Oh, the 37. We may need one of those. 37 and the 45. It's a huge crash off turn number 2. 2 different incidences, and the caution comes out. We're going to be using the first of our 3 green-white checker attempts. The 26 of the front end of the 26 of Sean Stevens is absolutely gone. Brendan Hoff involved. Of course, Colby Wells involved. The 27 of Alex Fox involved. And just like that, we're not done just yet. Replay coming up momentarily here on your screen. Again, it was 2 different incidences off of turn number 2, so we're going to be needing every single camera angle available if possible here. This is going to be the first of 3 green-white checkered attempts here. And well, we'll see how things go from there. So we're going to take a look at this entire thing from a distant camera here. And we're looking on the far left-hand side of your screen, the 37, second car on the inside lane. Gets the 44, slows up, gets tagged by the 38, gets loosened up is the 34. But also at that same time, if you look up on the top side, the number 9 and the 45 of Wells, they made contact as well at the same time that this is happening. 2 separate incidences happen at the same time. And just like that, it is pretty much on from there just afterwards. Many cars involved, about 6 by the looks of it. And just like that, from then on, we are looking at our first of 3 green-white checkered attempts. On board the 97 of Robbie Lyons. He's seen it, he slows up. A little bit of contact from the 07, who may have carried, by the looks of it, too much momentum. But regardless, just gets through relatively unscathed, aside from the contact with the 07. So Alan Ballacino, at the time of the caution, was scored as your leader. That means he's not in the best possible position here for the restart. So now we're going to be waiting, and it looks like we're going to be extending this finish to lap number 83. Regardless, the first of 3 green-white checker attempts are being put up for grabs here. So our restart will be consisting of, in the top 5, Alan Ballacino, who started 22nd, currently sitting in first with 13 laps, coming to 14 laps at least on his current run, on his current fuel run, essentially. Tires, well, they don't really matter at this point, but on his current fuel run, he's coming to lap number 14. Benjamin Nelson restarting on the outside. He's going to be in... he's going to be looking at his now currently 26th lap on his fuel run, more than likely saving fuel. Lucas Cram, same as him, 26th lap, possibly focused more on fuel than anything else. Lucas Strayer in the 41 machine. Start 23rd. He's up to 4th. He's currently running on his 14th lap, as well as Will Rodarmer, who started 11th. Two drivers in the top 5, Benjamin Nelson and Lucas Cram, on the cutting edge, essentially, of their final run. They'll have to pit at some point. They can't save fuel forever. Again, first of 3 green, white, checkered attempts. This is going to be something to keep an eye on for the anticipation as it grows. Alan Ballacino from 22nd to 1st for the time being. Out of 25 possible cars, 4 have officially retired. 2 are currently sitting in pit road. And those 2 sitting in pit road still trying to get repairs are Ryan O'Hara and Christopher Lewis. Christopher Lewis nearing 20, now currently actually on 20 minutes of repairs. Ryan O'Hara at 11 minutes and 15 seconds and counting. Sean Stevens, Nick Olson, Michael Klein, Steve Rada have all retired at this point. 19 cars on the track, 19 cars in the lead lap, 19 cars all in line, all have a shot for the win depending on whatever happens. Pace car pulls off. First green-white checkered attempt is underway. Alan Ballacino started 22nd. He's going to lead the field to the green. 2 laps remaining here at the start-finish line as we go green. The 44 of Lucas Cram is going to be absolutely hounding his back bumper this time by as they get up to speed in turns 1 and 2. Benjamin Nelson is going to have the help of the 41 of Lucas Strayer here momentarily as they come to the back straightaway. Look to see both the 37 and the 44 come up top to the outside lane, cutting off the 33's momentum. That's going to leave Lucas Cram now out in front as they make contact. The 02 sideways just hangs on to it. Unfortunately, for some reason, scoring is not yet updated, but regardless, we get your official results momentarily. Coming to now, 1 lap to go. No crashes, no cautions. Whatever happens here on out is pretty much final. This time by, it's Will Rodarmer with the help of the 33 of Benjamin Nelson now coming to the start-finish line with 1 lap to go. Will Rodarmer, Benjamin Nelson. Lucas Cram is going to give him a huge shot. Contact, huge net code by the looks of it, and it is huge net code. The L2, the 44, everyone manages to hang on to it. Now it's the 37 and the 44 on the breakaway. Here it comes to the outside. Clint Spillman in the 88 as we go 3 wide into turn number 3. It's going to be a 3-car drag race. The L2 deciding to push Lucas Cram. Everyone's got help with somebody in their respective lanes. At this point, it's going to be who gets to the line first as they crash behind. The 44 and the 88 will be drag racing to the line, but it's going to be Lucas Cram picking up the win here with a wild finish here at Daytona as they crash behind them. What a finish. What a race overall. The 44 of Lucas Cram, your winner here. Qualified 3rd, finished in 1st, possibly out of fuel at this point as the fireworks continue to go off here in the setting sun at Daytona. I'll get your interview with your top 3 momentarily, but we're going to go over your finishing results as well in a couple of moments. But Lucas Cram setting the tone for what could be the rest of the season here. The 44 of Cram will take it to the start-finish line. And he does have enough fuel left to burn it down at the start-finish line. As Lucas Cram burns it down here at Daytona. We're going to be taking a look at your finishing results here for this race. It is Lucas Cram getting the win after one green-white checkered attempt in a near wreck. Alan Ballicino finishes in second place. Clint Spillman third. Will Rodarmer in third place. Gavin Jones finishes fourth with Sean Howell, Colby Wells, Alex Bell, Mitchell Muma, and Lucas Strayer rounding out 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Second portion of the field is going to be Quinn Gindrich, who, well, last time we checked on him, he was actually back about in the positions about 20s, about 23rd or so at the last second. Last time we checked on him, he will round out the 11th place position. Robbie Lyons finishes 12th. Alex Fox, who was up front, unfortunately finishes in 13th. Brett Murphy comes home 14th with Dane Cruz in 15th. Benjamin Nelson with possibly the worst race so far this season. Of course, it was only the first race, but he and Brandon Hoff, first and second, will be 16th and 17th, respectively. Stephen Ellis, 18th. 19th is going to be Luke Parks, and Sean Stevens is going to be the first of many retirees in 20th. And the rest of the field, Ryan O'Hara, Nick Olson, Michael Klein, Christopher Lewis, and Steve Rada. Unfortunately, rounding out the top, the rest of your field, your 25-car field here, it should be at Daytona. But in the meantime, we're going to take a quick break here from Daytona, and we'll be right back with your top 3 drivers for an interview here. But until then, stay tuned, as this is the Sim Auto Racing Group Superspeedway Series. Interviews from your top 3 coming up momentarily.
Defending champion, a man who has won here at this racetrack. He has been absolutely second to none in 1987.
Dale Earnhardt is on his last lap. This will be his 24th career win, his 4th win of 1987 out of 6. Dale Earnhardt wins the first Union 400 in North Wilkesboro.
Everyone's wondering, what can stop Dale Earnhardt? He's on a roll, 4 wins and 6 starts. I mean, is there anybody can handle you?
There may be a little more here underneath the sheet metal.
Well, I'm sure this afternoon we'll know a lot more, and we've got 500 miles to run. We'll see what happens.
Good luck today.
Our magnificent 19th annual $500,000 Talladega 500 is won by Dawsonville, Georgia's Bill Elliott, and the siren is beginning to ring. You'll probably hear it in Dahlonega.
Bill Elliott has won. Davey Allison second.
Elliott now getting a challenge from Tim Richmond, but he closes again right in behind Earnhardt.
Welcome back here to the Racing Line Broadcasting Network, where we are starting to have our post-race interviews, and rightly so, after an incredibly, not exactly just an incredible finish, really, overall is the thing. So we're going to start with, of course, your race winner here momentarily. So starting off with the first place finisher, of course, going to be the number 44, Lucas Cram. Want to bring him in here. And, well, Lucas, congratulations on your race win here this afternoon. And, oh my goodness, I don't know about you, but there's just almost no words to describe what just transpired over that entire race, essentially.
Faith in these guys, and they're all great drivers. Almost the entire, first stage under green flag conditions there, and we had that one caution, a couple in between there, mostly just, due to lap cars, was kind of treacherous at these plate tracks, and then that finish, I still don't really know what happened. I was just kind of trying to watch the mirror and make sure I didn't get up into anybody and make the right moves and everything, and through wide, all the way through the last lap is it's insane. You can't ask much better than that. It was awesome.
It's something you never really expect to see. Well, I mean, you should be able to expect to see, but 3 wide, just that small group, just, of course, producing the usual Xfinity-style finishes that we see in real life as well. So, in a sense, living up to the Grand National banner in the process, as well as the performance of the cars. So, just absolutely incredible with how this race has transpired, especially for you. You didn't actually go to pit road afterwards. So, of course, pretty sure most likely you were saving fuel within those final few cautions when you had the chance.
Actually, we were pretty decent on fuel there. We have 75% fuel in the tanks there, so you go about 30 laps or roughly on a run. So that first stage, we all kind of put 6-8 in it, and then that run I put 6-8 in it until the caution came out. I just put in the greenies a bit faster and everything, but. Yeah, it was actually pretty easy. I was kind of just coasting around in third gear. I had about 5 downs left actually for the green checkered, so I was kind of just slightly running around in third gear to make sure I didn't run out if we win all 3 attempts there. But it was pretty comfortable with the fuel. I think everybody was. I'm not really sure the strategies that everybody had up there, but I'm pretty sure most of us, if all of us, put it on that caution there towards the end that kind of set us up for the fuel window. But yeah, I mean, these cars are really fun to drive. It's really hard to tandem in the corners. That you kind of fall off the guy in front of you unless you have a car behind you. So it's kind of interesting to work the runs and everything, and you can really kind of get multiple lanes going. Obviously, as you saw there at the end, we had 3 lanes, so pretty much equal there, kind of the finish.
And it's just absolutely amazing, especially with the strategy coming into it, being able to at least luck out with with those final few gallons in the process. So before we go ahead and let you go, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to for your race win here this evening?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Huge shout out to Robert Lyons and Brendan Cole wasn't here tonight, but he's an admin of the league. So, all 3 of us were in the league together. So huge shout out to Robbie for everything he does with this. And huge shout out to everybody who showed up in the race tonight. Obviously, interest and entry fee for the first time into SARG was a little bit sketchy, but we had a lot of great guys that decided they, wanted to come in and test their chance and obviously put on a good show. And so, they're locked in the entire season. So it's awesome to have all of them. We're going to have a great rest of the season, obviously, especially after tonight's showcase. Obviously, huge shout out to you to have you on board broadcasting the series. It's awesome to have our races back up on YouTube and to the world of sim racing fans. And obviously, it would be a shame not to have that kind of racing up on YouTube. So obviously, huge shout out to you. Do a great job with all of that. Huge shout out to Alan there for the push. I pretty much owe that all to him. He followed me everywhere up through the middle there, and all the come to the checkers. So just huge shout out to him. I don't know how he didn't wreck it. He got turned about 4 different ways, 5 different times, but he did a great job. So huge shout out to him, and I think that's pretty much it.
All right, we are going to go ahead and let you continue to celebrate your race win. Congratulations on winning the first race of this season as well, and we hope to see. We hope to talk to you again at least next week at Talladega.
Yeah, mate. All right, have a good night.
That is Lucas Cram winning this, the winner of this racing to see the purple machine, or the driver of the purple machine, who we are just about to talk to, actually, which is P2 finisher Alan Bellacino, who got, well, as said by Lucas Cram, turned about 5 different times coming to the finish. Door slammed as well in the process on travel entry, and somehow, someway, still managed to second place finish drag racing with Spillman. So, Alan, my goodness, how'd you pull something like that off after all this?
I don't even know. I'm pretty sure. I thought I was gonna be like in the stands, like for real, right there. Like that was crazy because there was about 5 different occasions where I was looking back at the replay and my car was like had a car like wrecking into me. So it's like, what? I don't even know. It's pure luck at that point. Like there was nothing I could do. Like one time I net coded Ben. I apologize about that. Ben and Lucas Strayer. I apologize about that. It looked like that was on me from the netcode side, but he came down. I'm like, oh man, I don't know how I saved that one. And then Alex Bell pushed me in the rear. I don't know how I didn't wreck right there. It's just pure luck at that point.
Especially coming into just that final lap in general. But you were pretty much good on fuel with 14 laps on your run by the end of that. So it definitely helped out. You edged out Clint Spillman quite literally and figuratively by the looks of this, about half a hood. So essentially, it's just a lot. It's something that you really just, even I have no words for. I can't even form the words, oddly enough, after doing broadcasts. It's just a lot, and it's absolutely incredible. Heading into Talladega next week, what are your thoughts for Talladega for next week?
Well, historically for myself, it's don't get wrecked and things will hopefully fall into place. That's the first thing. Just ride for a while until the last 20 to go, and then go for it. I took a different perspective tonight. I just went for it, and it seemed to pay off. So, just feeling the Xfinity car out since it feels like they changed the drafting model up a little bit. So I was just feeling it out a little bit.
Definitely helped out into your advantage, especially to get a second place finish, especially after starting all the way back in 22nd. So just absolutely incredible job overall. So before we go ahead and let you go, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to for your second place finish, I should say?
I'd like to give a shout out to the guys that run the league. They do a pretty good job. I enjoy running here every week. They put on a good show every week. Good group of guys here. So Robbie, Lucas,
We are going to go ahead and let you go. Congratulations again on your second place finish here this evening at Daytona. We hope to talk to you again next week.
Thank you.
We're going to have one more driver here, and it's going to be the third place finisher, the 88 of Clint Spillman, who after starting, double checking, of course, just to make sure, after starting in 6th, not too bad of a day just by looking at that on paper, but after seeing what you had gone throughout this entire race, just how? That's the only question I have, is just how, especially after all that. It is absolute insanity in that final lap there.
Yeah, I had one heck of a race. I think I was the only car out there that never got a tenth of a second of damage. I never had to use a fast repair, never had to repair anything. I just kept it clean all day, and the seas parted in that big one late in the race, and it just set me up to be closer up to the front. And I still don't know how I finished third. I restarted 9th on that green-white checkered, but with that net code happening in front of me, the seas just parted, and I just kept my foot in it and hoped someone got behind me and pushed me. But sadly, Sean got a little loose off 4, and they kind of wrecked behind me, so I had no help. But I feel like we could have got him if I had help coming to the line there.
Yeah, there's always a chance, and that third lane definitely opened up, of course, just by the final lap, as usual, as for Daytona finishes. And, well, heading into, not exactly next week, but within the next 2 weeks, I believe, it's going to be the Legacy Edition of Daytona, the 2008 version of Daytona. Nope, that's the next 5 weeks from now. Well, 4 weeks, I should say. So heading into, of course, the 4th race of the season, 5th race, I should say, in total, while, of course, insanely a little bit later on. What are your thoughts for the Legacy Edition of Daytona for the 2008?
Well, if it's the same setup we ran here, this setup, as the tires wore, the cars started getting just looser and looser. I don't know if that was track temp or just the way the cars were set up, but the Legacy Edition with that bottom lane being so bumpy, it's going to be interesting. I think guys are going to really have to wheel it there, just because this is a newly paved track, and there was some points where I was behind someone and the car just like kept wanting to go to the wall, back end kept spitting out, and it was just pretty hard to control there once you got tires worn. It was some sketchy stuff there late into runs.
Definitely, while sketchy, it did seem to pay off for at least a few drivers, you included, especially running the top side with almost no help. So before we go ahead and let you go, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to for your third place finish?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out the league owners, Lucas Cram, Robbie Lyons, Brennan Kohler. They do a great job with this league. I've had fun ever since they started it last year. Shout out to you, Gary, for putting this broadcast on. Do some great stuff there. And I guess I'll shout out my mom and dad. Hopefully they enjoyed that finish.
That's absolutely incredible for sure. We're going to go ahead and let you go, and we hope to talk to you again next week.
All right, thank you.
And that is third place finisher Clint Spillman. And we're going to take one more full look at this replay here of the final lap coming to the start finish line from 2 laps to go, coming all the way down to 1 lap to go. And we're just going to look at this. As we see, Lucas Cram was third place at the start finish line with 2 laps to go, and suddenly he finds himself in the first place position with help from the L2 as they had made their way through turns 1 and 2. The 33 rather, had left the inside lane open. Unfortunately, netcode had occurred. Somehow the seas parted for Clint Spillman as he made his way around through the outside. There was another wreck in the back as well. Unfortunately, a few other drivers got caught up in that. It may have been the 33 actually, which will explain why he went so far back in the running order, all the way down to 16th, but 3 wide through turns 3 and 4. A huge group of cars. I thought somebody was going to be wrecking here at some point, and they did, but they managed to hang on to it just until the end at the start-finish line. And that will pretty much do it here for this evening's race, as next week it's going to be quite exciting as we head to Daytona International Speedway in 2 weeks' time, I should say. As next week we head to Talladega Superspeedway for 75 laps, another 200 miles. Keep an eye on that. That's going to be next Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. And that will pretty much do it here for the Daytona 200 here. Brought to you by the Sim Auto Racing Group Superspeedway Series. It's been a pleasure bringing you this season, or this race rather, so far. And I should say season, but we're one race in. And at this point, if this is just the first race of the season, I'm wondering how the rest will play into effect. So we hope to see you next week for the next race of the season at Talladega, a 2.66 mile super speedway, and just that bit wider than Daytona. And more than likely, we could be seeing a lot more 4 wide action. So stay tuned to the Racing Line Broadcasting Network, and we hope to see you next time. Good night from Daytona International Speedway.